I am smart. Or at least, that is what I have been told. By parents, teachers, friends alike. I will grow up, and I will do all these great things. I will make my parents proud. I'll get those high grades. I'll get into the best university of my choice. But most importantly, I will actually succeed in life. That was my vision, and that remained my vision for quite some time. But underneath the surface, there was always this pressure to always know the right move. Every time I've had to make an impending decision or something would go wrong, I tell myself, I am the smart kid. I am supposed to have this all figured out. So was this really a vision, or just the first illusion that I fell for, pretending I had it all together, when in reality, I was just as lost as everyone else? My parents told me once, when I was about 10 years old, that illusions are like the games you play in school. The ones where you pretend everything is fine, when in reality, it's really not. Growing up Indian in a Hong Kong international school, I often felt caught between two worlds. One, full of my own expectations at home, with success and tradition and heavy books on my back. And the other at school, where I was surrounded by so many different cultures and faces, it was quite difficult to figure out who I really was. Everyone has a least favorite subject. In my case, this was art. Not because I have any aversion to the teachers, I love art, but really in Prep 4, my teacher had this constant habit of always asking us to paint where we came from. Everyone else enthusiastically pulled out their canvases, painting city skylines, family portraits, flags that stood for something so clear. I just stared at that blank page and did absolutely nothing. Why? Because at home, my parents talked about India with this forgotten pride, the way one describes a favorite song from long ago. At school, my friends would laugh at jokes never quite translated, and they still laugh when I drop chopsticks. I didn't know what the phrase, "where I came from," even meant. In middle school, I thought growing up again meant pretending to have it all put together. I started saying the most irrelevant things like, I drink black coffee 6 times a day and I'm obsessed with it, when in reality all it did was make me feel like I was inhaling burnt paper. I'd much rather prefer a milk-filled caramel macchiato. Next came Instagram in FY2. I had begged for this for years, gotten it for the hype. When I finally got on the platform, I was obsessed, not with the reels or the messages, but what to post. Is this skyline picture too low quality? Why has my following count gone down? Oh my God, only 8 people have liked this story. And then came what I thought was the bane of my existence. Makeup. For someone who'd never been taught how to do it before or worn it, it was absolutely horrifying. It started off with things like lip gloss, concealer, lipstick, things I obviously didn't really need, but somehow did, because everyone else had them. It wasn't just about the makeup product, it was about the branding. Charlotte Tilbury, Chanel, Fenty Beauty, Maybelline. I didn't know what any of these things were, but I was expected to. I told myself, this is totally normal. It's a part of growing up and it's healthy. But I wasn't sure if I was increasing my confidence or just becoming better at pretending. That's what illusions are, fitting in so tightly that you forget to breathe. But visions are different. Like a time where you stand up for what you believe in, despite the noise and all the pressure, a sudden spark of creativity, a sudden passion for a subject. There's a light in the fog of confusion, but you understand this light is yours to follow. But I guess I have grown up a bit since then. I still have Instagram, and I know a temptation to doom scroll. That's why I've set time limits, because I know how easy it is to spiral. I find pleasure in the carefree aspects of a makeup routine, rather than obsessing at 2 a.m. in the mirror over what my dark circles might look like. And the coffee thing, I've made peace with that too. No one really cares about the beverages that I drink, so I take milk-filled caramel macchiato any day. I know what you're thinking. This is so predictable. I want to go home. She's finished. Let this TED Talk be over. In response to that, I'm going to tell you about this one night. This one night was the night before a move, and the night I possibly bought into this dumbest illusion yet, that pretty labels and color-coded photos would magically fix my organizational skills. Now, if you don't know me, you'll know that I am one of the most disorganized people you could ever possibly meet. I lose 3 pens a day. I'm sorry to anyone who's ever lent me one. They're not even mine. I lose 3 hair ties. Deadlines sneak up like assassins. And if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell you my locker looks like a hurricane hit it. So honestly, long story short, I am very disorganized. But I thought, okay, I scrolled on Pinterest and saw all these aesthetic setups. So I thought, I can do this. I can play organizer. I stayed up until 4 a.m. color coding, organizing my amazing folder that would set me on the right path. Time to lock in. For about a week, this really did work. My friends would say, wow, you're so on top of all your work, and I'd look briefly superior at all the hidden tabs. And then it all came crashing down, because one day, my science notes spilled into my English folder. Yellow highlighter bled into all of my math pages. I had a planner with gold embossed quotes like hustle and silence. I forgot to write half the assignments in any way, and the next day, I lost it. That is the trap of illusions like that one. They whisper if you just perform the part with enough stickers and vibes, the chaos inside will sort itself. Spoiler alert, it obviously didn't. Real organization, which as you can tell I was not practicing, comes from the core. It's that quiet discipline to sit down and take responsibility for your actions, for they are your own and no one else's. Visions do not demand any applause. They make the fractured world a little steadier underneath your feet. Telling your parents you need a break, even though it feels like you might disappoint them. Ditching the group chat spiral, even though the tea might be really hot, for actual sleep because you have an exam tomorrow. I am smart. Maybe I will grow up and I'll do great things. Maybe I'll get those high grades. Maybe I will make my parents proud, and maybe I will actually succeed in life. Or maybe I won't. I don't know for sure. What I do know, though, is I can if I choose effort over excuses. I do not know the difference between a vision and an illusion. I am still learning. But one word I can tell you is action. The difference between a vision and an illusion, to me, is action. What I am willing to work for, not just what I'm willing to believe. Thank you.